Hi, welcome to our information session for the University of Prince Edward Island's new MBA program in Global Leadership. So please allow us to introduce ourselves.
My name is Grace McCourt, and I coordinate both the Executive Master in Business program and this new MBA in Global Leadership that we're going to talk to you about today.
Okay, and my name is Professor Don Wagner, and I am the director of this MBA program. So we're excited to be introducing this program. It's new to us. And so just to give you a little bit of context, since I understand some of you may be overseas, the University of Prince Edward Island is on the island of Prince Edward Island, which is in eastern Canada. It's a very beautiful place. It's a tourist destination, a culinary destination, and it's a safe and friendly place. The university is a relatively small university, 4,000 to 5,000 students. And within the university, our faculty, the Faculty of Business, is a very strong faculty. We have great instructors, great professors on faculty. Besides having the academic qualifications, many of them have extensive business experience. And so that's particularly valuable for an MBA program. Now, we already have an executive MBA program that we've been running for 10 years now, and it goes very well, and it's well suited for people who are mid-career, who are in management positions and do not want to interrupt their career to do their MBA, and so it's well tailored for that. But we've been getting a lot of applications from individuals who are more at the beginning of their career, and so that's what this particular MBA is designed for. People who want to add to their education and their credentials early in their career, and who are not worried about having to interrupt their career, that they can go full on in the program for a shorter period of time of 12 months. The new MBA, it's designed for such a student. Now, what we'll do now is I'll turn it over to Grace to talk about the ways in which it's particularly focused on international and for ways in which it's focused on leadership.
So as you can note from the name, Global Leadership, I want to talk a little bit about the global business perspective. And really the focus in each of the courses, I suppose, is doing business in the global environment. And so courses will include learning on such things as how to enter new markets, working in other cultures, navigating sort of diverse business environments globally, but also managing ethically and successfully in environments where maybe the legal, social, and infrastructure systems are very different. So that's sort of the focus on global business that you'll find throughout the program. In terms of leadership focus, we will have a focus on evidence-based leadership practices. We'll include a global leadership and ethics course in the first term of the program. Also a leadership reflective activity that you will start at the beginning of the program and continue on through the duration of the program. Also a focus on ethical decision making in a global context and developing effective communication skills.
Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll go through the program design in terms of how the courses are laid out and what's in there. After that, Grace will talk about how you can apply to this particular program. And then at the end, we'll offer opportunity to ask questions. But actually, what's best is if you have questions along the way. If you have any questions along the way, just feel free to send them along. I believe at the bottom of the screen there will be contact information on how you go about doing that. So we would welcome questions along the way as well. And of course, you can ask questions at the end too. Moving to the slide here, the program is delivered over 12 months, so it will begin in late August of this year, and then the first run of it will finish in early August of next year. And so it'll be done in over a 12-month period, and it's cohort-based, which means that it's a group of students go through the program together. They get to know each other very well. So based on our experience in the executive MBA, they get to know each other's quirks. There's a lot of laughter in the room because you know each other well. And we've, with our experience now, we see that lots of them have become lifelong friends or have worked together in business. So it's also a great networking opportunity. The course scheduling, as you can see on the slide, is it begins with an orientation module. So what that does is, first of all, you're introduced to your new fellow students, and then we develop some skills that will be useful to you both in the program and in your career. And then after that, there are 3 semesters. There's the fall semester running from September to December, and there'll be 5 core courses in that. And then there'll be 5 core courses again in the winter semester from January to April. And then from May to August is the summer semester where there will be 3 electives, plus the Capstone Project, which I'll elaborate on in a little bit. So moving to the next slide here, we have a list of the core courses. Now, whether you can read that might depend on what kind of device you're on, but it's the sort of, generally a lot of the courses are what you essentially need in any MBA program. You're going to have a finance course, you're going to have an accounting course, and so on. Now, if you're able to read this on your device, what you'll see is that there's very much an international focus on each of the courses, and so that is particularly well suited, partly because it's a global MBA, obviously, but it's also the case that, as Grace will be mentioning, there'll be students in this program who are graduates of business programs, and there will be students who are not graduates of business programs. What we require is a degree in any discipline. And so the course has to work for both types of students, and so there's an art to delivering courses that way, and we've been doing that already in the executive MBA. But part of the way that we're doing that is through this international emphasis. So for students who already have a business degree, they have already covered the fundamentals, but it'll be done with a particular focus on the international context. And so such students will definitely still be learning lots that's new. And yet at the same time, it will be covering the basics and the fundamentals because we recognize that some of the students have never taken an accounting course before or a marketing course before, and so on. So the international element is pretty clear in this list of courses. And then in terms of the leadership, one of the very first courses there is in global leadership and ethics. And as Grace already mentioned, there's an exercise that will be carried on through the whole program. It'll carry on into my course, the strategy course, in the second term, and then into the Capstone Project that involves leadership. Okay, and then in the summer term, we will have 3 electives. Now this slide, again, depending on your device, shows a large number of courses. We can't offer all of them, but what we do is, and it's something we do in our executive MBA, and it works very well there, is we'll consult the students in the class which courses, out of the ones that we're in a good position to offer with a very good instructor, we'll consult the class which courses they would want, and so we end up delivering courses that students most want, and so that system works very well. I should add, our instructors are very good. We've identified, out of all the courses where we've identified instructors, besides being very knowledgeable in their area, they're also going to make the courses enjoyable. We do have a fantastic faculty here. And then lastly, I neglected to mention from the previous slide here, the Capstone Project. What that will involve is a live project involving probably a local company looking to do something international. And so in essence, the students in the course will be much like consultants and using the material that they learned over the course of the program. Okay, so that's the content of the of the program. So then next is
Yeah.
how you apply and what does it take to get into this
Exactly.
program?
So in terms of applying to the program, typically for a candidate, we're looking that they have an undergraduate degree, as Don alluded. That can be in any discipline, so it doesn't necessarily have to be in business. Can be in other disciplines such as arts, science, engineering, etc. And we're looking at the last 2 years of undergraduate studies that you have a minimum of a B or a GPA of 3.0. So that's in the last 2 years. Going forward, there will be a requirement for a GMAT or GRE score as well. However, with this year, with the late launch of the program, there will be a waiver for this particular item. So we'll be specifically looking at grades in the undergraduate study. Our applications as well, I should note, they are reviewed on a rolling basis. And so as your application becomes complete, it's forwarded to our admissions committee to review, and you are contacted at that stage. In terms of the items needed to apply, the checklist, if you will, and you can apply by going to apply.upei.ca, and it will walk you through that. There is obviously an online application form that you would fill in. You would upload then your resume and your personal statement. In terms of your recommendation letters, you're identifying the names of your references, and we look for 2. Quite often for this program in particular, they could be academic, they could be work, they could be potentially a character reference as well. And these, you would identify sort of the names and email, contact emails for these individuals. The system would automatically send an email to them asking for their recommendation, and that would come back into the system. So other than sort of identifying names and emails, that's the only contact you need to have. And then your transcripts. So any post-secondary institution that you have attended, we will require an official transcript be forwarded to UPEI directly from your post-secondary institution. So it should be official. And for those where English is not the first language, you are required to submit an English language proficiency score as well. And there are different testings that we'll require. Typically, we see an IELTS or a TOEFL score. We also have here at UPEI the CAN test score. So there are a number of options, and those are identified on our admission requirements website, which is accessible through our website, which I think we are displaying at the bottom of the screen. And then again, I guess the application fee. So the checklist is up on your screen there, but also available at the website. So I pass it to Don to talk about costs.
Okay, so the fees are for domestic students, Canadians, and that would include citizens and who?
Permanent residents.
And permanent
Yeah,
residents
yeah.
is $20,000, and then as is typical in Canadian universities, there's an international student fee of an additional $10,000. So students can pay that over 3 years, or over 3 terms. So once in September, first installment in September, second installment in January, and the third one in May. There's a $3,000 deposit due soon after you've been accepted to the program, and that $3,000 deposit will be credited towards your first installment in September. So you would so it'd essentially be 1/3 of your total fees minus that $3,000 you already paid. And then there's some additional student fees, like student union fees. So that's the student-run organization at the University of Prince Edward Island, the athletic facilities fees, and so on.
Yep. So in terms of sort of how to cover costs, we want to kind of note some of the financial aid options. There are MBA entrance scholarships, which are just being developed, but I believe we have up to $40,000 that we'll award annually in MBA entrance scholarships. So watch our website for information on that. As well, through upei.ca/scholarships. If you go to that link, you can search graduate scholarships depending on your discipline and background, and there may be others that you qualify for, so I highly recommend that you do that. In terms of RRSPs, if you have RRSPs, you can use those as payments toward your tuition. And that affords some opportunity as well, so look at that option. And I guess our last slide, we want to bring to light sort of the tax credit option. So as a graduate student at UPEI, you are considered a full-time student, and from a tax perspective, that can save you some from tuition credits. And so it actually, you know, about 5,000 of that 20,000 for a domestic student, you can actually get that back in tax credits. So that sort of helps to pay forward some of the cost as well toward it. So as I always say, a little by little, you can find ways to sort of help fund and make it a little bit more cost effective for you.
Oh, okay. So at this point, we can open it up to questions. And so if you have any questions, feel free to send them our way, those of you who are watching live. And you can send them now, or you can send them after we're finished this presentation. And for those of you who are watching a recording of this, by all means, please also contact us. So we look forward to connecting with you if you're interested in this program. And so I don't know if you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're excited to launch this. We're excited to have 2 options for Master in Business programs here at UPEI. And by all means, any questions beyond this session, please feel free to contact our program offices at the information cited.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks for joining in.